You were source energy before you came into this body. In this body, you've contributed more, but the larger part of you in this vortex is this huge vibration that is all queued up and ready for you to meet it. And when you stop that resistant thought, you're going to meet that vibration. You follow? You're going to meet it, and you're going to meet it fast. It is such a bang for your buck to it is. Because as you release the thoughts that are holding you away and you go into the vortex and you rendezvous with who you are, you're going to say, it's been there all along and now I'm here to meet it. A man said to us one day, Abraham, I have lost my fortune and it took me a long, long time to amass it. And now I'm almost 70 years old and I'm starting over and I can't imagine accomplishing anything close to what I accomplished before because I have to start over. I've lost it all. And we said, you don't understand the laws of the universe at all. You don't understand the power of your vortex. The vortex is who you are. All you got to do is get in it. And the vortex was not lost. The vortex isn't lost. It's the culmination of all that you are. And when you step in, you get it all again, you see. Do you understand that? It has been amassing, accruing, and maintaining with interest. It has exponentially expanded. All you got to do is get in to the vortex. That's all you've got to do.
But if it's so easy to get out, and it's easy to get in, I'm sort of like, well, how long do you have to get in for? And how do you what if you're in only 5 minutes out of the day?
Well, that's the reason that we presented this last really brilliant soliloquy to all of you, and it was interesting. The audience at large didn't really receive it in the fullness that we want you to. So we're going to take another run at this.
Oh God!
This is really worth understanding. It's right out there on the leading edge, and when you get this, it will really settle in a powerful way. It doesn't matter how long you're out of the vortex waits for you. And it doesn't matter how often you're out or in the vortex waits for you. The more often you're in the vortex, the easier it is to remain in. And the more time you spend in, then the more manifestations begin to occur to you. So, but worrying about not being in the vortex is counterproductive to the experience. So you just want to enjoy when you're in there and now acknowledge that you now know something that you didn't know before. In other words, you did not know about this vibrational reality. You didn't know about it in the powerful way before we had this conversation. Mm-hmm. You now know something that you did not know before. So you're now going to, in other words, the idea of the breakthrough that is necessary in order to have the vortex work for you is you have to understand that it's an emotional journey in. In other words, your motive to go into the vortex has to be for emotional relief, not in order to get successful work. Mm-hmm. Because if your motive is to get successful work, now you activate where your work is and the vortex spits you out. Where if your motive is just to find relief, you can feel the relief of the vortex right away. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
So it's about, you see, here's something that we know that you don't know. Everything that you want, no matter what it is, you want it because you think you'll feel better in having it. Yes?
Yes.
More money, I'll just feel better. Healthy body, I'll feel better. Great relationships, I'll feel better. Everything that you want is because you believe in achieving that, you'll feel better. When you step into the vortex, you'll feel better. So if you make getting into the vortex the only thing that matters, you've made an end run around all of it. So then people say, oh, we get it, Abraham. You just want us to go in there and feel better and not need all that stuff that we thought we needed to feel better. He said, yes, that's exactly right. But then all the stuff must come. Because when you feel better, you're offering no resistance to everything you put into the vortex. So everything, and now it becomes this life of discovery. What's in there? Oh, Maybe you're in the vortex 5 minutes today because you blah your way in.
Right.
Maybe you're in the vortex 5 minutes, but you feel better and you feel the relief and now you feel like there's hope. Maybe you feel better today and maybe you're in there 5 minutes today and 10 minutes tomorrow. But once you're in there deliberately, that's the difference, because when you stumbled in, you couldn't maintain it. But when you recognize that you're in and then you work to stay in and you acknowledge that you are in and you compliment yourself about being in and you acknowledge how good it feels to be in and you breathe deeply and then you receive an inspiration and you follow through on the inspiration and then you see immediate manifestational results about the inspiration that came, and now you don't just feel hopeful, you feel more believing, and now next time you're not in the vortex, you have all that impetus that makes it easier to get in the next time. We're not asking you or even saying at all that you should get in there and stay in there all the time. We just want you to be aware that the answers to your questions are in the vortex. So if you're in the vortex 45% of the time, your life is way better than anybody you know. If you're in the vortex 55% of the time, nobody's living a life as good as yours. You can't look around and find anybody that's living a more excellent, exalted, successful on all fronts life than yours. Now you are empowered. Now you understand that you are a vibrational being. Now you understand it's not a matter of wrestling the thoughts to the ground and killing them. It's a matter of releasing the thoughts that have been holding you out of the vortex. It's like the cork. It bobs on the surface of the water. You can hold it under the water. That's what a negative thought is. But when you let go, the cork will bob right back up there. And that's really what we want you to understand about this vortex. If you're not clinging to a negative idea, the vortex is going to take you in. So if you're depressed or discouraged and saying some of the things that you were saying about how hard it is and how long it's been going on, as you defend where you stand, as you defend or justify or rationalize the reality that you're living, you can hold yourself in despair or in worry or in fear or in anger or in those vibrations that are really far away from the vortex. But if you're hanging around in hope, a little frustration, but hope, a little frustration, hope, a little frustration. If you're hanging around in hope, that vortex is going to take you in again and again. 2 minutes today, 2 minutes tomorrow. The vortex will take you in. And as you hang around in the vicinity of hope and the vortex takes you in, then before you know it, something's going to happen that's going to make you believe. You're going to start making the association. And this is the thing, this is the piece for you that is so big. If you just blunder into the vortex and you don't know how you got there, so you don't do anything about deliberately trying to stay, and so the next thought leads you out and the next thought keeps you out and the next thought keeps you out, and then you blunder in but you don't know how you got there and you don't do anything about trying to stay, what happens is you have no power. It's like creating by default. You just go where the wind blows, so to speak. But when you deliberately, once you got into the vortex, acknowledge that you were there and milked it a little bit and bask a little longer and acknowledge the relief that you're feeling and acknowledge that you're in the vortex and acknowledge that you're a vibrational being and acknowledge that you can to some degree control the way you feel and acknowledge that you got there through meditation or you got there through basking or you got there, in other words, try to make the correlation between the thoughts you were thinking and the relief that you were feeling. Now you are empowered, you see. Now you are a deliberate creator. And once you're a deliberate creator, once you are able to make the association between staying in longer and not staying in so long, it's fun watching Esther because she'll be in the vortex, even listening to one of the recordings that we've made, and find her mind wandering. And as her mind wanders, she finds herself leaving the vortex. And she catches herself almost immediately and refocuses herself right back into the vortex. You'll get so good at this that it will be like, you know how when you're receiving as you're composing, and you'll get an idea and it begins to flow through you, and then something else builds on it and something else builds on it, a piece and a piece and a piece and a piece. It's like that. It's like the longer you're there, the more begins to occur to you until before you know it, you are consciously and deliberately maintaining your vibration. But here's the thing that we wanted to say in a way that you will really, really remember. Anytime you have made it into the vortex, consciously and deliberately, and have maintained your time there to any degree, even if you only prolonged it for a few seconds or a minute, next time you're not in the vortex, it won't matter as much because you now understand that you have some measure of control about your relationship with the vortex. And what does that mean? You have some measure of control about your vibrational alignment with everything you want. You have some measure of control about your alignment with the energy of your source. You are now a deliberate creator. You are now a deliberate creator. That is so big. Because a deliberate creator is never stuck for very long. In other words, what was making you say you were stuck earlier is that you didn't know what to do. Now you know exactly what to do, don't you? Is there anyone who doesn't know what to do? Do you believe that the vortex is a vibrational reality? Do you believe that your relationship to it is up to you? Do you realize that you do have some creative control about your relationship with the vortex? Do you think it is unnatural for you to see something that makes you feel discouraged and takes you out of the vortex? Is it wrong when that happens? And is it a big deal? No, because you can get back in any time that you want. In other words, so what are the 10 most important things that we've said to you here today? We're going to tell you what they are. First, you have created all kinds of wonderful things that are in the vortex waiting for you. Second, the vibration of your vortex is a higher frequency than you've been practicing. So you're not just going to blunder in there easily. You're going to have to do something about raising your frequency. Third, when you're in the vortex, even if you blunder in and you deliberately stay there and you manage to prolong it for 10 seconds or 15 seconds or 20 seconds, your vibration shifts powerfully. There is so much more leverage when you do your work from inside the vortex than there is when you try to do your work from outside the vortex. If you were inside the vortex and reading these affirmation cards, affirming from inside the vortex is infinitely more powerful than determined affirmations from outside the vortex. Outside the vortex affirmations don't mean diddly squat. Inside the vortex affirmations mean everything. So that's 4 or 5. 4. The larger part of you is already experiencing the beneficial result of what you've put into the vortex and is offering a vibrational frequency that is tuned just for you to hear. And when you get into the vicinity of the vortex and you allow the vortex to take you in, it is a sure thing that you will rendezvous with that resonance in the same way that's always a sure thing because of what you understand about the mathematics of music. You know how you always know exactly what to do in order to create the effect that you're wanting to create? All of that is inside the vortex for you relative to everything. So specifically to you, we want to say to you that in the same way that you have been a composer of music, you are now a composer of personal vibration. A composer of vibration. And you know how you listen and feel? You know how if something's discordant, you know it right away? You know how you can feel when it blends, when it fits, when the harmonics are there, when the harmonics are off? You know how you can feel when the rhythm is right and when it is off? It's exactly the same thing. There is a master tuner inside your vortex that has been precisely tuned to everything that you've put there. And as you listen for it, you'll feel it when it's off and you'll feel it when it's on. What we want you to focus on is the exhilarating feeling of feeling it when it's on. The inside the vortex tuning is the most satisfying experience of your lifetime. Not because you're going to create something to sell, but because harmonics from inside the vortex is tuning to the frequency of the energy of your source. It's what everyone wants. It's that feeling that everyone thinks they will get if they can fill this void and fill this void and fill this void. That's the prize that you've been looking for in all of this. Personal, physical, biological, vibrational harmonics. You're a physical being, but you are a non-physical being. And the vibration of who you are is pulsing in a way that when you reach for it, when you feel for it, not listen for it, not smell for it, not look for it, when you feel for it, when you feel for the harmonics of it, and you discover the feeling of it, and then you acknowledge that you've found it and you stay there longer, why? This is the big question. Why would you stay there longer? Why?
Because it feels good.
Because it feels good. Now you've got it.
Where's the other 5 things? Thank you.